Hi, everyone, and welcome to our weekly one-on-one with head coach Doug Pederson. Eagles insider Dave Spadaro here. Our segment presented by Wawa. And Doug, look, 5-6, nobody happy about that. We know how the fans are feeling. Talk about the mindset. You know, nobody gives up hope. Nobody gives up that there's still a chance to turn the season around. That is the mentality you have to have in the NFL.
You have to have, one, you got to have short-term memory, obviously, and you have to you got to hit the reset button, and that's all part of it. And our mindset with this football, our guys, what I like about our football team right now is, even though, these last two games, our defense has played well, offense has not. But you know what? Nobody's pointing the finger. Nobody's saying it's your fault or it's my fault. We're all in this together. And they're angry about that, and they're mad about that because they know they're a better football team than what they're putting out there. And so, that's the thing. And then again, you look up and here we are, still a half game out of first place in our division, and everything's right in front of us with 5 weeks to go. And, it's still a great opportunity for this football team. And that's my message to the team, and we've got to embrace that and get ready again for an opportunity against Miami.
That's your message to them. What is their message to you? Is there a lot of back and forth communication during tough times with players?
There are, and I like that. I like that dialogue with players and coaches, or with players and myself, and where we can, whether I do it through the player committee or one-on-one basis with players, and sometimes you got to have these tough conversations. You got to. You got to tell players exactly what you think, kind of what you see is going on, and then what they see is going on, and then we can come together, we can fix it and move forward. But that's the one thing. Sometimes through this adversity like this, having these tough conversations can really make you a stronger football team moving forward.
Let's start with some positives. The Eagles' defense, since week 8, best in the league. Is it simply a matter, Doug, of getting everybody back? The team that you thought you had back in August, on the defensive side anyway, is there?
It just goes to show that when you have the full complement of guys, the healthier football team, especially on one side of the ball, how well they can play together. And I've been really proud of the guys on defense and, the defensive staff for what they've done and how they've kept that thing together and really kind of kept us in these last two games by creating turnovers, keeping the score down, stopping the run, all those types of things. If we eliminate a couple of the trick plays, which we've given up in the last two games, then maybe it's even a better scenario. But it just goes to show you when you have the healthier football team there, good things are going to happen.
In the secondary, can you just talk about how Jalen has played and how Ronald Darby and Avante have played? They have, after really kind of a year and a half, it feels like, just patching things together back there, the three of them have just solidified everything. They're really playing terrific football.
They're playing extremely well. And the one thing that I think, as they play more and more together, the communication that it takes, in game. And that's the thing you see. But it's not just in game, but it's in practice during the week. You see that same communication, and then it corresponds and it translates over into the game. And that's the thing you see. And then, of course, Jalen coming back off of that foot injury and, battling through that and his own adversity to come back and play, as well as he's been playing is really good to see. You would think that, like all of our other players, like a lot of times, like Fletcher and BG and some of these guys who are playing a D-line position, it took them a couple of weeks to kind of settle in and get their football legs. Where Jalen, even at the corner position, that first week up in Buffalo, there was some fatigue that set in, and that's going to happen. But each week he's gotten so much better. Darby's the same way. Avante now coming back from his injury, and then mixing in there with Rodney and Malcolm really solidifies that secondary force.
So big picture here, as we get the fans kind of back into this thing, right? There's a serious reason for optimism going into December. Defense down the stretch is so critical. This defense playing great football.
Well, they say defense wins championships, right? And right now we feel like we've got a championship-type defense. And these guys are, again, we still have to go prove it. We still got to go earn it every single week, and we gotta practice well during the week in order to get that done. But and then I'm optimistic too, because we hopefully get some guys back on offense to complement and to fill those pieces and bridge those gaps. And once we get the team back together, we're hoping that good things are going to happen to us here at the end of the season.
Thank you very much for the segue there. Let's talk about the offense. And do we expect, I mean, it's very early in the week, potentially some players getting back from Miami?
We do. Hopefully we get Lane. Lane's a big part of our offensive line and the success we had. And it was unfortunate, Brandon Brooks, but should expect him fully in this football game coming up. The other two kind of day to day are Nelson and Alshon. But fully expect to get those two back. And if we can do that, Jordan Howard might be the long shot in this football game, just because he's where he is. Just needs to get his strength back in his shoulder. And that's a day-to-day thing. If we can get these pieces back out there and working and get that timing and rhythm back with Carson, get that run game going again like it was early in the season, I think we'll be okay.
Doug, Carson is obviously a big part of this, and a lot of conversation about Carson and the struggles that he has had and the offense has had. What are you seeing from number 11?
You see a little bit from time to time of him trying to force an issue, trying to make a play when he really doesn't have to force it. I just want the game to come to him. He's too talented. He's too smart. He's too good to really have to go searching for plays, right? And I tell the team all the time, don't make the plays when they come to you. Just make the ones that come to you, and don't go searching for them. And Carson's in that same mold. So he doesn't have to do anything special. Just be Carson, right? Just run our offense. Allow the guys around him to work, and trust your offensive line. Trust the run game, and he's going to be fine. He's too good. He's too talented of a ball player. He's a valuable piece to our success, and we're looking forward to these next 5 games with him.
Does this happen with a lot of young? And he's not young necessarily, but he's only his 4th year. Does it happen to quarterbacks? Is this what you have to go through?
It does. It's part of the growing pains, because you think about Carson and really go all the way back to high school and elementary and college, where he's won a lot of games. He's used to winning, and now in the National Football League, and we're used to winning. I'm used to winning, whether it be my career in Green Bay as a player or coaching, in the National Football League. So when you don't win, now you feel like you got to put pressure on yourself, or I've got to make the right call, or we got to go look for a play, when really you don't have to. Just allow the game to come to you, let it unfold, and take the plays when they come.
Do you at all worry about Carson's level of confidence?
No, that's the one thing I don't ever worry about with Carson. He's self-confident, obviously, in his ability with the guys around him, and listen, he probably epitomizes the fact that you can hit the reset button the next week, start over, start fresh, clean slate, and prepare and get ready for the next opponent.
Doug, Sunday, it's a road game in Miami. The Dolphins 2-9, but they have played much better after an unbelievable start. What do you see from the Dolphins team? I know Fitzmagic got close yesterday, and then the Browns kind of pulled away at the end. Yeah,
you saw some things in the first half of that game where there might have been some miscommunication. Their secondary on defense allowed for some big plays in the passing game, by the Browns. But one thing you did once they finally settled down and play, this is a team that is really starting to play better down the stretch. I think understanding the scheme offensively and defensively, gelling, communication, all those things. They made they got it to 28-17 in that football game, and got it to within, at least a 2-score game at that point. So you're seeing that improvement with this team, and we got to have a great week of preparation. Obviously, as you know, we're trying to go 1-0 this week, and we're on the road again. It's very optimistic. Your message, we went through it last year, it doesn't change to the public. We know how tough it is. It doesn't. Closed doors. It doesn't change, and that's my message to the football team is where we are as a team. We got to understand. We got to realize where we are, and I got to keep reminding the team, but also I got to keep reminding the team what's in front of us and what can take place if we just take care of business, try to go 1-0 this week, and then move on to the next one. Block out the noise, stay focused on our process. Great things are going to happen. You confident guys block out the noise, Doug? I mean, I know you do, but do you think guys do? If they stay off their phones, I think they could. But tough for young people. I think it's harder for young people today, because that's kind of the culture they've grown up with social media, is everything's on their phone and everything's readily accessible. So if I could just pull their cell phones and shut down all their accounts, I think we'd be good. Is that allowed? With the NFLPA? The NFLPA? I don't know. They probably wouldn't let me do that. Yeah. Doug Pederson, Dave Spadaro, we thank you for joining us. Our weekly one-on-one presented by Wawa.